Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another segment of Hanging Out for a Living. I am Teresa Oshman, your host. And let me ask you this, or let me tell you this. Some authors sip tea quietly and type in cafes. Others scream heavy metal in the Montana wilderness and then go home and write comedy, fantasy, horror, and thrillers. Aaron Frale is the rare creative creature who somehow blends distortion pedals with plot twists. When he's not spotted roaming Montana or playing guitar in the indie prog band Spiral, he's crafting stories that mix humor with the unexpected. So naturally, we just have to hang out with Aaron. So, Aaron, welcome to Hanging Out for a Living.
Thank you, Teresa. Appreciate being here.
Let's dive into our questions. You describe yourself as being spotted in the wilds of Montana. How much does where you live influence the worlds you create?
I would say a lot. I, grew up in New Mexico and Montana are very similar. So if you ever have been to New Mexico, it's a lot like Montana. They both can claim big skies. And, some of my first intro novels, Time Burrito series were set in Albuquerque, where I grew up. And then, when I moved to Montana, I set a series called Tuners in Billings, Montana, because I think Billings needed to be on the map somewhere. And I love going out for hikes, and I love looking at the mountains, and especially when they're covered in mist, you
Mhm.
always have a good sense of mystery, right? Like what
Absolutely.
is happening in those mountains that
No.
are all misty and looking magical, you think the Elven Kingdom is just right around the corner there. Just go up the next rise and something magical awaits.
Ah, I love that. I love that. You scream heavy metal in Spiral and write humorous fantasy novels. How did those two creative outlets feed each other, if at all?
They do a lot. Music is, of course, a passion of mine,
Mhm.
and I wrote a fantasy series called The Misfits of Karnt, which they in that series have to be able to sing to cast spells.
Mhm.
So, of course, my fire wizard sings Metallica and heavy metal, because fire and and whatnot. But you get other genres in there with water wizards and earth mages and all sorts of things. And so, having music be the mechanism for spell casting, I feel helps me bring musicality to books. It's a little tricky when you're writing with music because, as an author, you can only mention the name of the band and the title of the song without getting copyright infringement cases.
Oh,
So you can't
okay.
use lyrics. And
Wow. All right. Learn
yeah.
something
So
new.
how do you evoke the imagery of a song without using lyrics, with only using title and artist? And so I'd say that it brings a challenge in both ways. And with that, the writing also informs the music. In that Spiral, we had all story albums. So all the albums in Spiral are, could be novels in and of themselves. And in fact, a few of them we made into short stories,
Mm.
and so there are some that do like cross over
Nice.
that those worlds. But yeah, every album we made all had a story behind it.
I love that. That's awesome. You never think about I wouldn't think about the copyright infringements or anything like that. So good thing that you are keeping, a pulse on that one.
Oh yeah, well, Amazon, which is where, 80% of my sales comes from,
Mhm.
uh, they'll shut you down for copyright infringement. So if you cross any of the written line or any of the lines, whether you intend, whether it's a honest mistake or intentional, their punishments are quite severe and quite quick. And
Ouch.
so yeah, if you want to be nice, play in Amazon's pool, basically, you got to follow their rules.
Absolutely. So, comedy mixed with fantasy, horror, and thrillers is really a bold blend, right? What draws you to weaving humor into darker or more intense genres?
I think there's humor and levity in everything. I think one of the great joys of life is not taking it too seriously. Uh,
Sure.
I think I think having fun and being able to play and being able to see the humor in things can really help take the edge off something, say, scary, for example. That's why horror and comedy is a beloved genre by many because you humor can disarm something, but it also can help bring up information about a critical topic. So, if there's something that someone has to say about something, a comedy is a great vessel of doing it. And a lot of, like, I would say societal discourse uh has humor as a mechanism for it, right?
Mhm.
This is
Definitely.
why, yeah, this is why, I say comedy as it never wins the awards, but I feel that comedy plays a very important role in our society in keeping it honest.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, for someone who's never read your work, where should they start and what kind of ride are they in for?
They're in for some fun. So I will say that it is a lot of fun what I do. And I would say they should start with Office Maxi. Office Maxi is a series about a murder printers, for lack of a better word. It kind of got created from a coworker of mine who thought the office printer was out to get her. And then we had a joke that, because the printer would work just fine for me. And so she said that I was the printer whisperer. I was in the corral with the printer and it was bucking around, and I whisper soothing words to have the printer not be so vicious. And then that got me thinking, what if printers really were really were vicious and really out to kill us? And I think it's a great series because it not only plays into a fun sort of fantasy adventure where the primary beings that they're fighting are office machinery gone amok, but I
Yeah.
also think it plays into technological anxiety, which is really prevalent in today's society where people are worried about AI and all these
Oh,
other
yeah.
technological
Definitely.
changings that are happening faster than we could, blink an eye. And so if you are nervous about technology and you want to see people start slashing it with swords, this is a great book for you.
Oh my gosh, I love that. I love that. And that can be found on Amazon, right?
Yeah, that Office Maxi can be found on Amazon. I didn't know that it was also a dress. So if you type in Office Maxi, you're going to get a bunch of dresses.
Oh, okay. There you go.
A maxi style dress for the office, I'm
I
supposing. But
suppose.
if you type in Aaron Frale Office Maxi, you'll
Oh,
find
there
my
you
book,
go.
or
There
you can
you
go to
go.
aaronfrale.com and all my stuff is on there too.
Absolutely. So, folks, for those of you that are listening or watching, if Aaron's creative world has you curious, whether it's the music, the novels, or the blend of comedy and chaos, be sure to connect with him. He just mentioned a few of his links, but they're also in the description, so you can explore his books, his band, and everything in between. And if you enjoy conversations with creative minds who don't quit or quite fit into, that proverbial box, um, make sure you're subscribing to Hanging Out for a Living. Aaron, thank you so much for hanging out with me this afternoon.
Thank you for having me hang.
All right, bye, everybody.
Bye.